Okay, I'd like to call to order the Township of Concord Council meeting for December 7th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Concord Township records their meetings. If anyone else is doing so, we'd ask you state so now, just so we don't inconvenience the rest of the meeting. Today is a very solemn anniversary in the history of our country. It was the anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. And in talking to Mr. Crossan, I think you said your grandfather was at Pearl Harbor?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, my grandfather, Commander C.J. Banowski, served in the U.S. Navy and was stationed at Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. And while that was a day that will live in infamy, as FDR said, my grandfather was also actually present on board the battleship where the Japanese surrendered 4 years later. And he lived to the age of 100 and died 6 years ago. But I always remember him telling me stories of that morning and the heroism of that day. And today, we remember the 2,403 service members and civilians who were killed during the Japanese attack, and note that 1,178 people were further injured. They permanently sank 2 U.S. Navy battleships, the USS Arizona and the USS Utah, and destroyed 188 aircraft, ultimately leading to the U.S.'s entry into World War II. And the words of the English poet Lawrence Binyon, who penned the poem For the Fallen after World War I, he said, "They shall not grow old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them." And so today, as on every January 7th, we do remember Pearl Harbor, and today we remember its 80th anniversary and honor the service of all those who serve in our military, that it may inspire us all to higher service for our country and community.
Thank you, John. Next on the agenda is the approval of the public meeting minutes for November 3rd. Do I have a motion to do so?
My name is Gene Goebel. I have an objection per the open records Pennsylvania state law. Title 65, Chapter 7 on open meetings, Article 710 says, prior to taking any official action, the Board of Council must allow public comment at the beginning of the meeting. My objection to the meetings with Mr. Cross, and I appreciate you publishing them. Public packet was excellent. However, there's an important omission from my comments from November 3rd. At the 25-minute and 45-second mark, I had commented that the township needs to be consistent with which floodplain is enforced at 711 Concord Road that they did with the prior ones. Appreciate if that could please be added. That a judicial meeting this morning, and Mr. Cavadias made a comment to me that makes me feel that might not be happening. Submit the letter from 1998. It's not the best copy I've given this to the township about Anyways, that's my objection on the minutes. I'll be back up for public comment at that time. Thank you.
So moved.
I'm reading the minutes here. It says, Mr. Goebel followed up with questions regarding a structure on the opposite side of the stream, the definition of floodplain, and the accuracy of FEMA maps. The minutes, Amanda, if I'm not mistaken, are just a snapshot or on the old Cliff Notes version of the meeting. They don't have to be verbatim, correct? Is that?
That's correct. In fact, for open meeting, you could say something as simple as Gene Goebel commented on 711 Concord Road concerns, and that'd be fine. My point is, though, when you put such detailed items, I'm asking that this other comment that I did make, and I gave you the point where I made the comment, that also be included. So kind of felt almost one way or the other, just say the minimal or allow me to ask you to include what is on the record at the 25-minute, 45-second mark.
Well, the motion
Sounds like it's going to be some point of contention, the issue that was mentioned and documented.
Well, the motion right now is to approve the minutes as written. Should we take a vote on that?
It can be seconded and then amended after.
Okay.
It can be after.
All right,
after
we had a
seconded.
motion to approve it. We had a second by Benita, if I'm not mistaken. Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Goebel, how would you like the minutes amended to note? I move that we amend the minutes to reflect that Mr. Goebel cited a desire for the township to be consistent in its application of floodplain.
Good point. Without reviewing the record ourselves, perhaps Amanda, we don't necessarily have to approve these minutes. We've done that before. We can look at them
No,
and make the edits and improve them next month.
we can make the edits. I can have Lisa fold in that comment, and then you can approve them at the next meeting.
Yeah,
I have a motion on the floor, so I would withdraw I have to withdraw my motion first, John.
All right.
I would like to amend the motion that was put on the table and prepare another motion that we would take Mr. Goebel's comments under consideration, and we would act on these minutes at our next monthly meeting.
We have a second.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're off to a great start. Next is the approval of the wrong piece of paper here. Total expenditures for the month of $1,022,033.38, made up of a November payroll of $154,965.70. Current bills totaling $650,666.62, and current sewer bills totaling $216,401.59. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we have some operating fund transfer balances. We're going to be transferring from the sewer fund transfer to the sewer capital account the amount of $2.1 million committed to new infrastructure, and from the township general fund transfer to the capital reserve fund, $700,000 unassigned for general capital expenses. We have a motion to approve those transfers.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think we're going to jump out of order here a little in the program. We're going to hold the recognition till the end of the meeting. However, under other council matters, item number 8, we have someone here, Molly Walsh, regarding a sports charity bin at the township building. Molly, if you would come up and stand at the microphone and tell us what your thoughts are, please.
Hi, my name is Molly Walsh, and I'm in 5th grade, and I'm at Garnet Valley Elementary School, and I love playing basketball and soccer. I play soccer for FC Brandywine and basketball for BYC. I'm here to ask for your support of a sports equipment collection drive I am organizing on behalf of the organization Leveling the Playing Field. Leveling the Playing Field collects sports equipment for kids in need. The cost of this sports equipment is often a barrier for kids and their families. By sponsoring this collection drive, I will be able to collect equipment to fill the new warehouse in the Philadelphia area. I believe every child should follow their dreams in sports. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Very well said. Thank you.
young lady.
Molly, don't go away. I think this is... No, I think, what's everyone's thoughts? Amanda, we could probably house this somewhere. Tommy, you were going to say something?
Absolutely no problem. We could house it in the front lobby.
Yeah, sports equipment.
Yeah.
The sports equipment collection drive where we would house a bin here. Molly is organizing the collection drive in the community. We would be taking that.
Hey, what, if you can wait till the end of the meeting, I'd like to donate $500 tonight.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
That's awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Molly, how long would you like to have the collection go on for? Is it a specific time frame that you're looking to do the drive?
1 month.
A month, okay.
We're looking to end it on January 5th, so to get through the holidays, out their garages and basements, they're able to contribute.
Okay, that's
Hey,
great.
Molly, would you mind if we had a picture taken with you, so that way if you want to publicize this, it would maybe help you a little more? All right, how about we all come down there and we get a picture with you?
Where's the bin? Do you have it? Okay, let's just take a picture with the bin.
All the years I've been doing that, this is one of the great experiences when we have the young people come up and advocate for a certain program. We've had people from the environmental clubs and things of that nature come over. And Molly, you deserve a lot of credit, and I appreciate seeing you tonight, and good luck with this project. Okay, next on the agenda is the monthly activity reports. Sewer Department, Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, I have the monthly activity report for November. Both the main plant and Riviera plant continue to meet discharge requirements within the parameters of the NPDES permits. The operations staff performed 12 lateral inspections for resale certification during the month of November. The Concord Road North Sewer Project rock survey was completed in November, and the design plans are being finalized. And finally, the sludge hauling contract was bid with a recommendation for award, which is on tonight's agenda. End of report.
Thank you, John. Building and code enforcement for the month, there were 87 total permits, 24 building permits, 18 plumbing permits, 16 mechanical permits, 25 electrical permits, 1 zoning permit, 1 massage permit, and 2 other permits. Also, for November of last year, we had 71 total permits. There's still some additions going on at Maris Grove, and the Cherry and Medical Building, the one across the street from Joseph Anthony's on Route 1, is completed, the shell, but it's vacant. We're waiting for tenant applications and refit. Missing that on here. State Police Report. Okay. Trooper, I'm sorry. Lieutenant.
Good evening. I'm Lieutenant John Sunderland from the Pennsylvania State Police. I'm a little bit taller than Molly, I guess. I was wondering with the council if it would be okay if I skip over the normal report where we send you the information and just go over a few of the significant incidents that our station investigated in November, and for the public as well. So throughout the last month, we noticed a really big uptick in overnight theft from vehicles in the lower portion of Concord Township and in Chadds Ford Township. Every single one of those thefts occurred with an unlocked vehicle. So there was 1 to 2 individuals that were walking through neighborhoods, checking on car doors. If the doors were open, they would go in, take what they could. There were also 2 vehicles stolen in reference to those thefts, where the keys were located with the vehicles and the vehicles were stolen. I believe that we had 11 separate occurrences of those theft from vehicles in November. However, recently, on December 1st, one of those vehicles was recovered in the state of Delaware, and the individual who had stolen the vehicle and was driving it was apprehended and is currently in prison. So our detectives from our station interviewed him. They did a search warrant on the vehicle and recovered quite a few different items from that neighborhood that were stolen. So we're confident that we've at least cleared a few of those, and we're still working to see if we can link this individual that's in custody to some of the previous thefts. Video surveillance, and we've been collecting as much information as we can. Just stress as frequently as possible that people, even if they feel safe in their neighborhoods, please lock your car doors and don't leave items of value out. It's just pickings for criminals when they're going through. Another item that I wanted to address, there were 2 carjackings, armed carjackings at the Wawa at 202 and Naaman's Creek Road. One was an attempt. It was unsuccessful. The other one was successful. It's juveniles from Wilmington and northern Delaware that are committing these carjackings all over southern Pennsylvania and northern Delaware area. The gentleman that had his car robbed, the vehicle was later recovered in the state of Delaware. We are currently working with the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. We've identified, along with authorities in Delaware, several of these individuals. They're part of a ring, they're part of a gang that goes and commits armed carjackings. They then use those vehicles to commit other crimes, hoping to avoid detection for driving their own cars. So we're working with the feds right now, and what we're going to try and do is see if we can charge them federally as adults. The penalties will be much strict, or more strict, charge them federally than they would charge them as juveniles in Delaware County. So we're working that route. The last thing that I just wanted to touch on, I believe, again, it was last month, there was a social media explosion about attempted abductions in Concord Township in the Target area, Wegmans. I just urge people to take what you see on social media with a grain of salt. It spread like wildfire, and my phone was blowing up, texting me, calling me, asking all kinds of questions. And station commander and I had not heard about a single abduction, which at first I was a little bit concerned that word wasn't getting passed up the chain. But then when we researched it a little bit more, there was a gentleman that was down in the area that had some mental health issues and was, for the most part, just making a lot of people uncomfortable. So the troopers identified that individual, dealt with him, and resolved everything. So other than that, what I just want to stress with the township, that we're doing everything that we can to try and be out there, be visible, especially around the holidays, and as far as any of the traffic complaints that we get, whether it's speeding, stop sign violations, we're doing our best to get troopers out, do enforcement in those areas, documenting our enforcement efforts so that we will have data to show, and it's also available on the PSP public website.
Okay. Any questions?
Lieutenant, first of all, thank you for everything you do for our township. It's much appreciated. I guess where I'm coming from is at any one point of a day, how many officers would we have in Concord Township? Is there any statistics like that were covered 24/7, and there's always somebody in our township? Or is it sporadic, or how does that work?
So with our station, the way, since we cover 7 different municipalities and then portions of I-95 and 476 just from station and media, our our patrol zones are divided up. So Concord Township's divided into several different zones, and there is always at least one trooper per zone. So during any shift, any given time of day, there are always troopers that are assigned to the zones that cover Concord Township. Certain days when we have more manpower working, obviously we have more people working during the regular AM and PM hours versus a midnight shift. So during those AM and PM hours, there's more troopers working than there are overnight, but they're still patrolling through Concord. Does that answer your question?
Okay, any other questions?
I have a quick question for, especially in lieu of the number of car thefts that are happening. If someone is at one of the commercial parking lots and happens to be one of the victims who comes across one of the carjackers, what would you recommend should be the first thing that they should do to protect themselves or in such an event?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really tough to give a general blanket statement of what to do. I mean, really, you have to think of your own personal safety. The way that I see it is a person's life is way more valuable than a vehicle is. So if somebody is trying to take the vehicle, I'm not going to tell people what to do, but I would definitely stress that staying alive is way more important than losing that vehicle. And if they take the vehicle, then law enforcement, that's our opportunity to do our job, try and locate the car and get it back to the person, versus having to deal with somebody that's seriously injured or killed as a result of the theft.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Planning Commission met on the report dated November 30th. They reviewed the Garrish subdivision, 620 Concord Road, the Muchler subdivision, 75 Beaver Valley Road, and the Stephenai subdivision at Governor Markham Drive at their November 15th meeting. The agenda meeting will be held on December 13th and the public meeting on December 20th of 2021. Solicitor.
If everything stays on schedule, the Chetty property closing will occur tomorrow. Also would like to advise the public that there was an executive session to discuss one matter that is presently in litigation and another matter which poses potential litigation. Be advised that the past meeting, a township resident asked whether Section 2.09 of the Home Rule Charter, that is the power and duties of council, pertains to the initiation or settlement of zoning enforcement actions. The answer is no, as it pertains to both Articles 9 and 11 of the NPC, which permits the zoning officer designees to initiate and or settle those types of proceedings. Also, I'd like everyone to be aware that Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code does allow individuals to take action against adjoining landowners. Specifically, it states when such an action is instituted by a landowner or a tenant, notice of that action shall be served upon the municipality at least 30 days prior to the time of the action is begun by serving a copy of the complaint on the governing body of the municipality. No such action may be maintained until such notice has been given. With respect to situations that are not zoning related, and by that I mean a zoning related enforcement action, the answer is yes. The township, when it is initiating or settling litigation, should do so pursuant to the terms of the Home Rule Charter, which would be by resolution. Thank you.
Good evening. A few updates for everybody. First, we did successfully coordinate with PennDOT as well as the Newland Gristmill, and we anticipate some road work occurring in the near future. It was actually scheduled for last week. PennDOT ended up postponing it, but repairing some inlets and some culverts along Cheney Road, especially in the vicinity of Newland Gristmill where we have some damaged pipes. So that's been working with Representative Williams' office, and we have a new local PennDOT rep who was very helpful as well. Second, I did speak with PennDOT this morning. They are taking a look at our Powell Road safety request. They will likely recommend a reduced speed limit as well as a pedestrian crossing in the Bethel Township. And we should get that recommendation in the next 2 weeks, and then that will be for the township to implement. We did get notified by Pennsylvania DCED, Department of Conservation and Economic Development, our 2 grant applications from earlier this year for Octorara construction, as well as the Chetty acquisition and conservation easement. Unfortunately, both were denied. Speaking of trails, just to update council, who is aware, Amanda is also aware, PICO is potentially implementing new policies regarding trails on their properties, easements, and rights-of-way. We have been in limbo essentially since the spring, waiting for this announcement, as it will significantly impact both the Octorara Trail and the Garnet Valley Greenway. We still do not have the formal decision from PICO on what this policy or procedure is going to be, but once we get that, we will work with the township, as well as our various funding agencies, DVRPC, DCNR, partner townships, to determine what the impacts are and where we go from here regarding those 2 trail projects. The last 2 updates, Concord Road at Riviera at Concord. The pedestrian crossings. We have 2 pedestrian crossings that connect the trails in that community that we've been receiving some complaints on. We approached PennDOT. It appears they will be approving some improved signage and striping, and we will get that installed most likely in 2022, in early 2022, I believe. There's 2 crossings. There'll be advanced striping and signage on both, hopefully improve the awareness of those 2 pedestrian crossings. And last, just to continue to update on Schoolhouse in 1, we have been in coordination with PennDOT, and we have a package prepared that we'll be submitting to them on the 15th. That package will include the left turn restriction from southbound Schoolhouse. It'll also include the signal modifications at Baltimore and Stony Bank, as well as Baltimore Pike and Cheney Road, in addition to a 4-way stop request for Schoolhouse, Cheney, and Trimble. So those are all 4 of the, I believe there were 7 items that council had notified the public they were going to proceed with at last month's meeting. We're going to get those 4 initial ones underway in the immediate future here. Additionally, we have some striping going on in Schoolhouse. We've contracted Guidemark to complete that work, and we just have not been notified when they will be out there. The only other items on that are going to be 2022 issues, which would be designing the deceleration lane and then taking a closer look after the installation of all this if a permanent left turn restriction is warranted and if we want to move forward with that option. So I believe those are all my updates for this evening, unless there's any questions from any member of council.
Yep, absolutely. So first, I'm so happy to hear that, Mr. Goebel, you saw the public packet. We just, Lisa and I have been working on that, and we will be, we were planning to start that in January, but with your request last month, we sped it up. Lisa figured out how to make that work. And if you look at the agenda sort of that's up on the screen, so if the public goes to our township website and you go to the agendas and minutes page of the site, you'll see a link there to public packet. The items in red are clickable and they take you directly to the item behind it. So we hope that residents like that feature. I think it'll cut down on some of the printing and let folks have a chance to look at that at home. We will always have that updated on Mondays prior to the meeting. And everyone should remember these are draft documents subject to change at public meetings. So all finalized documents, including resolutions, minutes, and ordinances, will be housed separately once they are adopted and approved, as they always have been on our website. Additionally, I wanted to bring up our audit. So our audit was complete, as everyone knows on council, and I believe some of the public. We were held up this year due to the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System for the pension numbers. The state had been modernizing systems, and we were behind. That audit has now been complete. Bill Kalin, who's with me, our finance director, provided council and myself with a memo outlining some of the highlights. So if council doesn't mind, I'll just read a couple of the highlights on here, which I think most important is that we had a clean audit, no findings. So I want to make sure I get that. That's considered an unmodified opinion, is what they say. So that's most important. I'll also discuss the fund balance. At year-end, December 31st, 2020, the township's governmental funds balance is $15,123,528. Of that $15 million, $2 million, which is 15%, has been restricted for use by council, and $11 million roughly, which is 73% of that $15 million, is restricted for capital asset purchases. $1.8 million, which is a roughly 12% of the $15 million number, remains available for unrestricted use at year-end 2020. Additionally, talk about our operating profit and loss. The township operating revenues, not including changes in pension obligations, totaled roughly $5.2 million, a decrease of 16% compared to 2019. Most of the decrease is due to a reduction in licenses and permit revenue, as well as Act 511 revenues, which are attributable to COVID-19, as most people would expect, because we're reporting on the 2020 year. Operating expenditures increased from $4 million in 2019 to $5.7 in 2020. That increase was a result to non-capital related highway and road construction, our road program expenses, as well as general government related expenditures. The above noted decreases in total revenues and increases in expenditures resulted in governmental activities. We had a loss reported in the 2020 year of $914,000 roughly for year-end 2020. Debt service payments, which we have an agenda item coming up on the ordinance number later in the agenda. But during the current year, the township made debt principal payments totaling $746,000, $505,000 from the township, and $241,000 from the sewer funds. Total principal outstanding at year-end totaled just about $4 million, of which 7.5 relates to governmental activities and 3.8 relates to business type activities. That money includes the borrowings between the bond and the note, so I will point that out because the discussion further on the ordinance deals with the bond portion of that. We cannot refinance the note. Capital expenditures. Governmental fund capital asset additions totaled roughly $4 million during the year-end 2020. The business type activity, sewer, which is sewer capital assets, additions totaled $933,000 at the year-end. Pensions, as I told you, we have an extremely healthy pension fund. We contributed roughly about $247,000 this year, and about $172,000 of that was obligation. And we receive state aid from the state that helps to fund what we send out on the pension side. Future consideration, something I wanted to bring up was just ARPA. We had gotten questions about ARPA funds, just so folks know. We did receive in the 2021 fiscal year $938,500, which is the first half of an additional payment we should receive in the 2022 year. This will trigger, if funds are spent this upcoming year, it will trigger an audit separate for 2021. So I just wanted to point that out to folks, and they're still actually finalizing the final guidelines of those ARPA funds. We get questioned a lot, why haven't we talked about projects or spending the money? I know that there's some larger cities and things who are using that for lost revenue and other things, but here council really wanted to think about it and make sure that we were meeting the guidelines in place because they change pretty consistently, constantly is a better word to say that. So with that, if council has any questions, happy to answer it. Bill's here, he can answer any questions on our finances. Additionally, the audit is up now on the website.
Other comments from council? Thank you, Amanda, for that report. Next on the agenda is public comment. Anybody has any public comment, please step forward to the microphone and identify yourself with your name and address. Okay.
Hi, Dennis Stefano, Bethel Road.
I'm sorry, your name again, please?
I'm sorry, Dennis Stefano, Bethel Road.
Your house number, please?
Sorry?
Your address, Bethel Road?
Oh, 20 Bethel Road. Open space, the green plan and properties that township owns. You guys had 2 open meetings, public meetings at Bush Hill Farm, I guess it's called, and one was at the township or
Public Works
garage, whatever it was called. I'm sorry. I appreciate having those meetings outside and being able to attend. As a result of those meetings, was there any document? Was there any preliminary? Is there a resolution to those meetings? Is there something on the website or something we can read, or where are we going after these meetings?
So we're currently in the process. Part of those meetings were part of different processes. One was to have sort of an open house on trails, if I'm correct, as well as they were part of a broader conversation about community engagement. And so, but beyond that, we also are in the process of updating our current open space plan, which is part of our comprehensive plan. And so that is in the process of being finalized now, will be finalized in next year. And there will be another public meeting as well for public comment and review of that.
To add in, and I'll add to that. So I think what you're looking for is the final report for the Voice Your Vision project that we had in town, which is what led to those community-wide meetings. That final report is on our website. We have weaved into the budget several items from that report. Additionally, the meeting that you had at the separate buildings, that was one of the commitments council had made regarding that, to make sure we continue those. So in the summer months, we're actually planning to host meetings in some separate venues to have more of a community-wide discussion. And there are multiple there were short-term priorities and long-term priorities that council's working on.
So there'll be a public comment at some point before it's finalized?
We actually had that at the public meeting. So we had all those that came to the meetings and provided their email. And Township, we actually sent it out there, but we did have a closeout meeting with the folks from Connect the Dots, and that was in September, I believe, or October. Was that October? My brain's drawn a blank. And then we actually had that at a public meeting with discussion.
But I think the gentleman's referring to the finalization of an open space program. Is there going to be public comment afforded before it's adopted by council? Is that your question?
I mean, I would like to see anything before it's adopted.
Sure, exactly. And the answer to that question is yes. Before this council would adopt a final version of an open space plan, public comment would be afforded.
You know, for example, Delaware County adopted in 2015, and unfortunately I didn't notice it and didn't see it, but there's an adoption to build a driving range at the corner of Bethel and Barnett Mine, right?
That's correct.
Whether or not that goes through or not, who knows, right? Well, I live across the street. I don't want to see a driving range. I live next door to the old dog park. I live at Bush Hill Farm, or whatever it's called these days. And I'm interested in what it's going to look like, or if it's going to change. I like it the way it is. So do a lot of neighbors. But I would like to see a document and be able to read it, and not something that's finalized, right?
Yeah, Mr. Stefano,
I think we're all confused, maybe.
Maybe I am.
Which report?
Could be. Yeah.
Which are you handling? Which report are you referencing?
There's a few different things that,
well,
obviously you're focused around Bush Hill Farm, Clayton Park, the areas in that area of town, right?
Yeah, I live next door to a property. I'm interested in trails, green space, what the township's going to do, what they're not going to do.
Sure. So in general for that, then we have the master plan basically for our open space plan, that will that report is in progress to be finalized, and it will be published prior to a public meeting for public comment. So you'll get a chance to see that and review it, and then come with any comments, thoughts, questions. And then additionally, one of the things we haven't talked about yet is that we're doing master plans for all of our individual sites. So we'll be developing a master plan for Bush Hill Farm, specifically just about that site. And that's hasn't started yet, but that will happen next year, and that will also have public input sessions.
I don't want to take up too much more time, but I would like to ask, there's two barns, one on Bush Hill, and then there's the red picture over there on the wall on Garnet Mine. They're eyesores. And I said it at the public meetings, they need to be fixed, they need to be saved, they need to be repaired. And I know that Mr. Pileggi had said that something might be done next year. I strongly urge that they do be repaired and they're not eyesores and allowed to deteriorate any.
Thank you. Yes, we did some emergency repairs a few years ago, but obviously maintenance is always an ongoing project. The restoration of those barns and the use of those barns would be the subject of the master plan, and we have money set aside just for improvements to that park, and that would be one of the things that would be discussed in the plan. But definitely appreciate your concern being a neighbor.
So I have two other points. When the officer was talking about cars being robbed in the lower section of the township, I don't know what the lower section of the township.
Down along 202.
Okay, thank you. Just one other thing. Lots of roads have been paved. Why not Bethel Road?
It's a state
road. State's responsible? Okay, thank you.
If you contact Craig Williams, he can advocate for that.
Good evening. My name's John Federico. I live at 700 Avondale Road in Wallingford, PA, and I'm the Director of Advancement for Senior Community Services, or SCS. For nearly 45 years, SCS has served Delaware County's older adult population by providing independent, meaningful living through direct services and programs in the home and in the community. For nearly 20 years, the Township of Concord has been a generous partner in supporting our Center Without Walls. Through this program, SCS offers recreational programs, arts and culture classes, health and wellness activities, and adult lifelong learning courses in the western half of Delaware County. And the township has made its municipal building available for these programs, including this room, some of which take place weekly and others on a monthly or on a more irregular basis. Concord residents also participate in activities at our traditional senior centers in Chester and Folsom, which is home to Schoolhouse Center, the county's largest senior center. Besides these community-based programs, SCS also offers services and supports that prolong the capacity of older adults to live independently in their own homes. We administer the Options, Caregiver Support, and PA Medicare Education and Decision Insight Program, PA Medi for short, as a subcontractor of the Delaware County Office of Services for the Aging, also known as COSA. These programs provide home-delivered meals, non-medical home care, personal care, and home modifications to seniors who want to avoid entering nursing homes. They offer financial reimbursement, emotional support, and educational programs to family caregivers for seniors with cancer or dementia, grandparents over the age of 55 raising their grandchildren, or adults providing care to another adult with a disability. Our PA Medi program is an award-winning volunteer-driven program that helps seniors navigate the complexities associated with Medicare. One of our counselors helped a client save $20,000 simply by comparing her current insurance with other plans available in the county. SCS is active on social media. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, where we have an extensive library of programs to engage and entertain seniors and encourage them to exercise their minds and bodies. SCS pivoted to online programming to connect and engage seniors via Zoom and teleconferencing at the onset of the pandemic. We've continued to provide these online and hybrid programs since reopening centers for indoor activities in July. Concord has made an annual investment of $1,200 per year, plus the in-kind use of your facilities in SCS, which provides great dividends for roughly 5% of your residents over the age of 65. In the last year, which was marred by COVID-19, SCS met the needs of nearly 100 residents through our home-based services and 73 participants in Center Without Walls / traditional senior centers, for a total of nearly 200 people served. In a normal pre-COVID year, the number of people participating in these activities might be as much as 2 or 3 times the number we served last year. We're grateful for the support that Concord has provided for our activities over the years, and hopefully you will consider renewing your contribution in 2022. I can take any questions you have, or I encourage you to contact me or Arthur Weisfeld, our Executive Director, by phone at 610-237-8100 if you have questions or concerns. Thank you for your time and attention tonight. I'll leave this packet.
Thank you, John. If you remember, I was on that Zoom call on November 15th.
Oh, yes.
Yes, okay.
And you're on the COSA senior committee.
On the COSA Advisory Council as well.
Yes.
And I'm very familiar with all the programs that the Seniors Community Services offers, and we do our best here in Concord to help support. So after that November 15th Zoom call, I felt a little bit better about what we do here and what you folks do.
Great.
So I asked our council if we could increase our $1,200 donation, and I believe in our budget that we're going to approve tonight, we've increased it to $2,000.
That is phenomenal.
So you
Thank
can go back
so
and tell Arthur Weisfeld, your executive director, that that you showing up tonight got them got them a few
That's
more
my
dollars.
Christmas bonus.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Okay. Seeing no one else, Gene, I guess you're up.
I was curious about 7-Eleven zoning hearing board. That sort of seemed to disappear without any change in the conditions that prompted the citation. Is there some sort of settlement? It was dropped. Was there a settlement?
Yes, that's been resolved with respect to the floodplain issues. That's been resolved.
Is it possible to find out what the resolution was? I did a right to know, and I got
Sure, it was made, I believe it was made part of the record at the zoning hearing board meeting. But sure, I'll be happy to provide you a copy, or the township will.
So the earthen berm is going to remain or be removed?
Mr. Goebbels, I've answered this question before, so has Mr. Klein. There has been some remediation of a portion of the berm, and I'm leaving it at that.
Okay. And I can get a copy of the settlement from whom?
The agreement from the township would be happy to provide it, but it was made, it was made part of the record at the zoning hearing board meeting. I don't know if you attended the meeting or not.
I think I was told it wasn't going to happen, but okay, fair enough. Township budget, and maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I saw it somewhere else. I think there was like $200,000 for like stormwater problems. I know there's been stream sediment issues, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, and the engineers here, we are required by the state through our MS4 program. We have a pollution reduction plan that we have committed to. It's a public report on the website. And as such, we put money aside each year to tackle stormwater management issues and problems throughout the township. And we have money put aside in this year's budget, as we always have, to tackle and discuss some of those issues. You're talking about the budget, right?
Yeah.
I'll point out also on the agenda, moving down, some of those items, we have some tackled actually this year, just to say, so you know, we do them every year. There was a storm sewer contract we'll be paying out a portion of. I think it's the final payment. I'm looking at Nate this evening as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the management of the township's floodplain might also be related to some issues we're having with stormwater. I'm going to submit an excerpt from the April 2021 zoning hearing board. where our zoning officer, whom by code is also the floodplain manager, revealed that he had been remiss in his duties of some 20 years, that he apparently didn't even know he had the job. I'd like to submit that for the record. I'd like to ask if the township could scan and post the Township Conservation Floodplain map, which is, if it's more restrictive than the FEMA's, that is the controlling document, has been since 1971. But I know it's like, I'd asked you folks about it before, and I think Nate actually showed it to me. It's like 4 feet by 10 feet, so it didn't fit in a 3-foot scanner, but can you cut it in half, scan both sides, and electronically seam it? It's a shame that we've got engineers in the township putting out plans unaware of what the code is and what the township map is. Is there a way we can sort of get that out?
Fortunately, we do not have many plans since I've been involved that are proposed doing land development projects within the floodplain. That's a non-starter for most projects, is if you talk to any engineer or any developer. So second is there is an existing map. What Mr. Goebel is referring to is after, I believe, Hurricane Agnes. A map was created by hand. That's literally 4 foot by 5 foot. That is in a bin in the front of the township. Our code references this plan. There's been contention over what holds, whether that holds or FEMA holds. There's been confusion, court cases, litigation on projects over the years, but there is another map. The code does reference it. If Mr. Goebel is suggesting somehow getting that online, I can certainly talk to Amanda about possibly posting that online in addition to available FEMA mapping. Thank you.
Or, you know, is our current code illegal? Then by all means fix it, right? You folks get to make the rules, but you don't get to pick whom you enforce them on, right? All right. Thank you.
Of 2021, final land development, JZ Realtor. Nate, they were here last month on this?
Yes, sorry,
and,
JZ
there
Real-
was some.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go right into it. I don't want to reboot. Everybody was here last month. We talked at length about their project, contractor shop on a vacant lot in the industrial park. Mr. Crossan correctly pointed out some kind of inconsistencies or lack of clarity regarding our ordinance. Therefore, we tabled it. Since then, I've worked with the applicant's engineer. We've come up with a resolution that we feel is consistent with the code, subject to board approval. And I have revised the resolution that you have in front of you to include a condition to address this. The plan essentially in front of you does show this and clarify this, but essentially it's regarding the riparian buffer requirements. And again, for this project, I think we've come up with a solution that I think is reasonable for this site and its complexities. Maybe going forward, it's something we can discuss further in how it applies to other sites.
I'm looking at the resolution. It looks like section 9.
Correct.
Has to do with that, so I'll just read that into the record since I think we were comfortable with everything else last month. The riparian buffer for the stream along the side yard adjacent to Evergreen Drive shall be 35 feet. The riparian buffer for the stream along the rear yard shall be 100 feet where feasible, both as indicated in the attached proposed buffer plan attached as Exhibit G. I assume that's Exhibit G we're seeing up there now?
Correct.
Okay.
And I believe I also added, I think number 9 regarding fencing, just to clarify the fencing situation. The 7 or 9 maybe?
You're gonna make me, oh yeah, number 8. All fencing to be black vinyl chain link or similar subject to approval of the township engineer. Okay, so do we have a motion to approve resolution 62 of 2021?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Any question or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Welcome to Concord. Thank you for your patience. It took an extra month, but you can't pave now anyway, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
We're
All right.
excited. Thank you
Okay,
very much,
good.
guys.
All right,
Thank you for your
got it.
patience.
All right, resolution number 63, final minor subdivision 73 Beaver Valley Road. Nate, you got this to put up on the wall?
I do. Hold on one second.
Come on, Nate, you're holding me up.
All right. So this is in, what do we call it earlier? The southern end of the township, I guess, technically. The Panhandle. This is off of Beaver Valley Road. I'll slide the map around in a second. This is the Muchler property. Thank you, Bill. Muchler property here, north side of Beaver Valley Road, adjacent to the camp meeting site. There's an existing farmstead here on the property. They're looking to create a new lot at the rear of this property, essentially the rectangle at the top of this page. Essentially, this is a one-lot subdivision. It'll have access through the existing private driveway to the Summit Camp meeting site. And then you'll have an easement on the existing Muchler property to get to this rear lot. Single-family home, stormwater management will be provided, on-lot septic will be provided, fairly straightforward. There are several waivers that we've applied to this, and the waivers really come into play due to the historic nature of the existing camp meeting site and their existing driveway. The way the code is worded such, essentially it would be required to widen this existing kind of country, quiet little driveway back to the camp meeting to a road standard. And I think all parties agreed that with the nature of this site, it being one lot, that would be inappropriate for kind of the size and scale of this site. And that's where these waivers come into play. So essentially what you would do is you're pulling into the camp meeting site. Before you get to their gate, about halfway down the driveway, you would make a right and turn into the new driveway, or frankly, the existing driveway, to get back to the new lot. So that is the project in a nutshell. The new lot will be 1.3 acres. The remaining acreage on the existing lot will be approximately 7 acres. And I think I touched on everything. Any questions?
Yes, Nate, because this is adjacent to a Class 1 historic.
Historic resource is required. It's noted in my letter, and it's as a condition of approval is my letter. Okay. So that'll be required prior to plan recording.
Very good, thank you.
Stab at a resolution here. Resolution 63 of 2021, final minor subdivision, plan dated January 15, 2021, last revised October 15, same. Larry and Eileen Munchler, equitable owner, tax folio number, and the plan was prepared by Koopman and Sons. It is approved subject to the following conditions. Number 1, compliance with all comments contained in the Pannoni review letter dated November 12, 2021. 2, compliance with all comments contained in the Delaware County Planning Department letter dated March 19, 2021. Number 3, compliance with all comments contained in the Concord Township Sewage Enforcement Officer letter dated March 18, 2021. And all these are attached. Number 4, compliance with all comments contained in the Fire Marshal email dated October 29, 2021. Number 5, a contribution to the Municipal Stormwater Control and BMP Operation and Maintenance Fund is required in the amount of $1,500. Number 6, PADEP approval, planning module exemption for proposed on-lot sewage disposal. Number 7, signed, sealed surveyor certification of placement of monuments and pins must be filed with the township prior to the recording of the signer plan. Number 8, plans are to be submitted in electronic format acceptable to the township consulting engineer. Number 9, all deeds for properties, legal descriptions, easements, and stormwater maintenance agreements are to be submitted for review and approval by the township engineer and township solicitor prior to release of the signed plan. And as Nate mentioned, there are 4 waivers. One from 16039E1A requiring a private street to have a 50-foot right-of-way. 2 from 16039E1B requiring a private street to have an 18-foot wide cartway. 3, 16039E1D requiring the installation of a rolled curb along a private street. And 4 from 16041B from the requirement to widen the driveway cartway, but that the right-of-way easement is to be widened to the minimum of 25 feet. We have a motion to approve this resolution. We have a second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Conditions acceptable to the applicant? Okay. Good luck with your project. Next is resolution number 64, final minor subdivision 620 Concord Road. Go ahead, Nate, you want to go through that real quick?
Sure thing. Amanda's pulling this up on the screen. We also have this on the board in the back of the room here. This is the recent preservation. The township acquired this property. This is the entire site. This is a little bit larger than I want to. Let me see if I can zoom that in. Just zoom it into the actual Garris. So this is essentially all the township properties between 322 and Concord Road, adjacent to the sewer plant. And what we did is we acquired the Garris property, which is the 2 parcels on the right-hand side here that we are subdividing, and we'll get over there with my assistant here. Here you go.
A lot of imagery on here.
That's a very fancy plan.
Hey, you need a better assistant.
All right, zoom out just a hair. Just a hair. Look, that's.
I've been saying that for years. You need to help.
This is not the first time we've all seen this plan. There we go, right there, stay right there. So, yep, on the right-hand side here, we see all the notations in white there. So there's an existing property here that the township acquired, and we are subdividing into two parcels. The parcel in the front, where the farmstead is, which is the existing historic barn, house, spring house, that is going to be sold out to the public. The property in the rear, which is again approximately 3.5 acres, I believe, that will be retained by the township, and it will be adjoined by multiple township properties. We have amended, this is the original plan we submitted to the township. We've since amended this plan, and prior to recording, we will confirm, but we are providing easements over the township properties so that we have access to Concord and 322 to this subdivided parcel. The Garris property in the front will be subject to several restrictions. The meadow in the front will be deed restricted from any development, and the historic buildings will be deed restricted from demolition. And I believe that touches on everything here, guys. Also, we'll require that the farmstead be connected to public sewer. Public sewer exists in Concord Road. That way we can get this property off of the septic system. It makes things a little bit more flexible for the property lines, as well as selling this property while getting a property onto the sewer network.
Okay. Going to take it from there.
Sure. So whereas the final minor subdivision plan dated October 19th, 2021, revised November 29th, 2021, prepared by Pannoni, has been submitted. This property is located at 620 Concord Road, containing 7.32 acres in the R2 zoning district. This subdivision is approved subject to the following conditions: signed, sealed surveyor certification of placement of monuments and pins must be filed with the township prior to recording the signed plan. Plans are to be submitted in electronic format acceptable to the township engineer. Concord Township shall connect the lot to public. Lot 1 to public sewer prior to sale, including any permitting required with the PADEP. Lot 1 is restricted from further subdivision or development with the exception of conditions noted herein and is to be so deed restricted. Lot 1 is subject to the rules and regulations of Article 19A of the Historic Preservation of the Township Code as amended. Lot 1, the area noted on the plan as, quote, area restricted from further future development and disturbance, is intended to be maintained in a lawn or meadow-like condition similar to that in existence at the time of subdivision. The deed restriction shall provide that the historic house, barn, and spring house are to be preserved and not demolished. The subdivision is subject to all conditions outlined in the agreement of sale, and all deeds for the property's legal descriptions under easements are to be submitted for review and approval by the township engineer and township solicitor prior to release of the signed plan. There are 3 waivers for section 160-35B13 requiring existing contours, 160-35B14 requiring existing tree masses and notable trees, and 160-43D requiring every lot have access to a street. Mr. President, I so move.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Just as a matter of discussion, this property was purchased by the township earlier this year, and while this may seem slightly unconventional to be subdividing what was discussed as open space and land and historic preservation and then looking to resell it, we believe that this is really a creative solution that is a win for everyone. These historic properties will continue to be maintained and preserved under private ownership, which is really the best ownership that they can have, while the view sheds and all of the land will in fact be preserved and remain as open space, and we are able to expand our existing township sewer plant location. So it's a tremendous win on all 3 fronts, and through the sale of this property, we're also able to recoup some of the money that was used to purchase it. So I'm excited about this project.
Good point. Nate, one more thing though. The remainder of the site, which is going to be owned by the township sewer department, I think we talked at one time, perhaps sometime during the next calendar year, we ought to consider doing a reverse subdivision plan.
Yes.
That everything that is owned by the sewer department is under one folio number and one legal description.
Okay. Yeah, we've got all the data information. So as part of the survey for the Garris property,
okay,
anticipating that might come up, just doing it all at once. So we've got a lot of the data at this point. So between consolidation or future activities, we've got a lot of data, so we can make that happen.
I don't know. I think you would be so directed by council to get that started.
In the new year?
Let it appear on a future meeting agenda.
Consolidate everything. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of consolidation plan. All right, so a motion is second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next one is, we have 65, right?
Maris Grove.
Resolution
Maris
65. Maris Grove Buildings 3.4 and 3.5. I see our Cracker Jack team here representing Maris Grove. Adam, haven't seen you in ages.
Wow.
Yes, it has.
Nice to see everybody. Eric Britz, who's with Bowler, our project engineer, is also with me tonight.
Good to see Eric again, too.
Has been quite some time. February of 2020, right before the pandemic hit in, approved a resolution for buildings number 3, or 3.4 and 3.5. We're asking that you confirm that. None of the conditions have changed, although there have been, plans have been slightly updated, right? Right, and I believe Nate has seen.
I can confirm that's correct, yes.
So this is more of a technicality than anything else, just to keep everything.
And I think there's been an agreement, and Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, that the security payments will allow that to be phased as they go into each new development.
Yes,
That's what we did last
we're gonna
time.
post security by phases of the project.
Okay.
Township, thank you.
All right. So it would be Resolution 65 of 2021, which would reaffirm Resolution 18 of 2020, and also allowing for the resolution permitting the improvement security agreements to be made in phases. That is, appropriate security payment will be made simultaneously with the submission of the application for the building permit for each phase, and all other conditions in Resolution 18, 2020 would remain unchanged. Do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Have a happy holiday, guys. Okay. Next is Resolution number 66. Nate, you have that up on there?
Yeah, this is very similar to what just occurred with Maris Grove. This is a reaffirmation of a previously approved plan to modify lot lines between the Cliff and Lockland properties. Yep, Amanda's got the plan there. Essentially, they had proposed a plan years ago to address some garage shed addition type projects, and then realized, the pool, and just, there was a plan to kind of clean up all the property lines. And then when they went to record the plan, they realized that one of the property owners had constructed something else, so it was not correct. This plan is the ultimate kind of cleanup of these property lines to get everything on the right property lines. This plan came in today. It is a reaffirmation of the previous plan. Prior to recording, I will give this a once-over to make sure everything is correct in accordance with the code. But in speaking to the engineer and their attorney, I think we're in good shape here.
Okay, so this would be a resolution to approve the final minor subdivision application of Charles Laughlin, Joseph Cliff, and Cynthia Shar, 384 and 86 Smithbridge Road, plans prepared by Hootman. There was a resolution 22 of 2018, but as you said, Nate, there's a new one dated July, a plan to July 20th, 2020, Exhibit C, which shows the revised lot line adjustments. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Any questions or discussion? The only thing I would add, if we could tell Mr. Laughlin that get it in here this time, this is the...
They have very strict orders from our Katie in the coast department.
No more of this. Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah, is Mr. Lockwood, Cliff, or is Ms. Shar here?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, next is ordinance number 397 of Concord Township. Oh, we're going to be skipping the resolution 67 of 2021, C. Everett Brandywine Summit Zoning Settlement. That will be tabled until a future meeting. The next ordinance is regarding the bond refinancing of the 2016 series bond. Billy or somebody, Amanda, you want to take it from there?
Sure, we actually have Jeff Calhoun present, who can discuss any nuances. This is exactly what council had seen at the hearing on November 16th. We've done all the correct advertisements. We are in line with the Local Government Unit Debt Act, and we are now ready for council to make a decision so that we can move forward with the closing process and moving forward with the refinancing of our 2016 series bond.
Okay, Lucian, just so we're clear, or Jeff, I'm sorry. I think at the budget hearing, you mentioned this would yield a savings to the township of how many dollars over the course of the note?
Sure. As of close today, the savings would be just over $412,000.
Okay. All right. So that's what got everybody's eyes open last time we did this. So, and they're still open, and now we're going to ask for a motion to approve.
And and this is a fixed rate situation, isn't that right, sir?
Yes, you will be fixing the rate tomorrow. Bill and Amanda deem it appropriate.
Yep. And Mr. President, if you'll allow me, I'll do a roll call since it's an ordinance.
Yeah, but first we have to get a second, right?
We have to take a motion.
We made a motion. Didn't we make a motion?
I
John made the motion.
I made the motion for ordinance number 397.
I'll second it.
Okay, Amanda, you got to do a roll call.
Sure. Okay.
Start
Just
wherever
looking down the line over here. Ms. Deschmuke, how do you vote?
Nita.
Yes, agree.
Ms. Rankin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Gillespie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Pileggi, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Crossan, how do you vote?
Aye.
I'll let the record reflect that Mr. Mahoney has stepped out. So with that, the motion carries.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Go save us the money. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, next is ordinance number 398 of 2022, which is a budget for the year. Amanda, we had a hearing on this, and we have everything, all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed, and all the numbers add up. and
You're
we're
officially
good to go.
official and final. So unless council had any other changes, we are good to go. I'll point out again, as it did before in the ordinance, we had a hearing on November 16th. We followed everything in accordance with our charter and the regulations of this being an ordinance. It has been advertised multiple times. The final budget is published on our website. And with this, we are ready to go for the 2022 year.
Okay, so it'll be ordinance number 398, which is the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2022. The proposed 2022 final budget is outlined in ordinance establishes a 2022 real estate tax millage of .064 mils for library, .061 for fire hydrant, .044 for fire protection services, .139 for open space, and .206 for general purpose, for a total real estate tax levy of .514 mils, which is unchanged from the 2021 tax year. So would we have a motion to approve resolution number 398?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Questions or discussion? We have to call the roll on this one too.
Okay. I'll start again down with Ms. Deschmuke. How do you vote?
Agree.
Ms. Rankin, how do you vote?
Agree.
Mr. Gillespie, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Crossan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Pileggi, how do you vote?
Aye.
Let the record also reflect that Mr. Mahoney has stepped out. So with that, the motion carries.
And so the record's accurate also when a council member says agree, it's an aye. Is that correct?
Yes,
Thank
aye.
you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is to accept the resignation of Larry Mutzler from the Planning Commission. As to whom it may concern, that must mean you, John. I, Larry Mutzler II, am resigning my position on the Planning Commission effective immediately. Thank you for allowing me to serve, and it's been my pleasure. Do we have a motion to approve that, accept that resignation? Somebody shout out.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next is the authorization for the advertisement for bids, Green Light Go Grant Project Traffic Signal Updates. Nate, is there any update you got to give us on that, or?
No, this is a grant we were awarded by PennDOT approximately a year ago. This is for, I believe, 5 traffic signals. We will be removing the detection that's in-ground detection that frequently gets damaged or broken with video or wavetronics detection on the signal pole. So this is an upgrade for 4 or 5 signals in the township. These are pretty much the last 4 or 5 of the old way of doing things. So this is 80% funded by PennDOT through a grant.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, award the bids. Mr. Gillespie, I think you're going to be handling these next few here.
Yes, Mr. President. The first one being the sewer sludge hauling contract. We have a recommendation from our sewer engineer to award to McGovern Environmental for a 3-year period, 2022, 23, and 24. And also, for the sake of brevity, we'll take the next one. Township fence materials and installation for a couple different sites, the AME Church and the Chetty property. 2 bids were received. We have a recommendation from our township engineer to award the bid to Able Fence LLC with a base bid of $121,886. So that in the form of a motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second motion.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And then we also have certificate for payments, a final to Gessler Storm Sewer contract for $111,840, and also a final payment for Moore Construction for the Arley grant for $57,004.25, and a final payment to McKinney for a sewer project at Beaver Valley Road for $22,147.66. That's in the form of a motion.
Do we have a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. And we have some financial security releases. First one being release number 8 to Temple Road Developers for $128,790.06. I suppose we'll go right through them. The second one is for Team Toyota for improvement security in the amount of $216,953.18. And another one for Team Toyota for sewer improvement security. This is a final for $41,895.51. And release number 1 to Tom Tuttle, a sewer improvement security for $20,364.75. And finally, a release for Astoria, Chad's Ford. This is improvement security agreement for $291,333.99. That is in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is to accept as complete for filing the following applications. Conkerville Hotel LLC reverse subdivision lot line adjustment. They have 5 different folio numbers and they're trying to get everything into 3 parcels. A motion to approve the acceptance of that plan.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Under under council matters, I want to personally, I was here the other night for the beginning of the Santa Claus visit to the township. I think I saw Dana here, came in as I was leaving. And our Park and Rec department did a bang-up job this year in all the promotions and all the events they did. And we're lucky to have them, and I think more good things to come. I think there was a lot of pent-up energy from the year we couldn't have anything due to COVID. But they really went above and beyond the call of duty for this calendar year, this past one. Yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to note that last year we started doing summer concerts in the park, and this year we were able to expand those to, I believe, 6 concerts. We had 3 movie nights, or at least we tried to. I think one just kept getting rained out. A pie baking contest, pet parade. There was so many different great things that that our Parks and Rec team led this year, and I know they are looking forward to another exciting year next year. Thank you to all their service.
I just want to add in too, just again, thanking staff, especially from my perspective. There's a lot of hours and time that goes into all of that, and it's important to note that. A lot of times everybody gets to walk in and everything's all done, but there's been a lot of time spent, thought about on our end on how to make it logistically work. For example, for Friday night, we had a fire pit for the first time. I had to have the fire marshal involved and other things, so people tend to forget. So I just want to make sure I know council fully appreciates it. So I just want to reiterate again from my perspective as the manager that I am beyond grateful for the staff that we have here at Concord Township.
And as we do those events, they help us understand our facilities better and improvements that we need to make. And I believe we have some improvements planned for the snack shack next year, and some other things to come too. So good things.
No beer garden, though. Okay.
Working on it.
Upcoming meetings, December 8th, we have the Historical Commission meeting. Next Tuesday night in this building at 7 p.m., we have a hearing for Penswood Winery regarding a zoning ordinance change for an agricultural use. December 15th, Zoning Hearing Board. December 20th, Planning Commission. The Township Building will be closed on the 24th and the 25th of December, as well as the 31st of December. And the 28th is an agenda meeting if we need it, and January 3rd and next year is the reorganization meeting.
Zoning Hearing Board, I just got notice, is going to be canceled for December.
Okay, so everybody can have the 15th off. All right, next thing on the agenda is a proclamation recognizing Thomas J. Mahoney. Whereas Thomas J. Mahoney has served Concord Township residents since January 4th, 2010. After 6 years of service as constable and 6 years service as a Board of Supervisors council member, Mr. Mahoney's term has sadly ended. Whereas Concord Township would like to publicly recognize Mr. Mahoney for his valued years of service to Concord Township, and council would like to thank Mr. Mahoney for the contribution he's made towards doing his term. Now therefore be it resolved that Concord Township hereby expresses its gratitude to Mr. Mahoney for his devotion to public service and his contributions to Concord Township, and wishes him the best of luck in all his future endeavors. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved, Mr. President.
Seconded.
And also, I'd just like to say a few words while I have the microphone. I wish Tommy the best, and we'll call it his retirement, although he's too young to retire. He's got many, many more years of things that he wants to be doing. I'm sure he'll be spending more time with his family and with his business. And it's been an extreme pleasure for me to serve with him on this board. And again, I wish him the best.
We have a second.
Second, just to follow up in comments from John, it's been a pleasure to serve with Tom these last 4 years and get to know him personally. Tom has real passion and heart for Concord Township and a concern for the public safety and welfare of our citizens, and making sure that we remain a strong and great place to call home. And Tom has also been a tireless advocate for recognition of our high schoolers, and whether they be athletes or scholars, whatever the case may be, Tom has always brought to our attention the good things happening amongst our young people here in Concord, and I thank him for his advocacy and service.
And I'd like to add, too, I've known Tom personally as well as through this job here, and it's been my honor and pleasure to work with him and serve with him and consider him a friend. I was thinking of what you're going to be doing in your downtime, and I see those three guys back there. I guess they're going to take a lot of your time, aren't they? Yeah, they're a tough crew to keep under control, aren't they? But anyway, Tom, thank you for everything. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Yeah, you can make it quick. Why don't we finish and then we'll get a picture? We're going to finish and then we'll get a picture.
I've been very blessed to be a part of this community for 20 years. I've been very blessed to serve this community for 12. I've been very blessed to know each and every one of you on this board. This really humbled me. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Well, Tom, on your way out, would you mind making a motion to adjourn so we can get out of here?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's go down and get a picture.
How you doing, guys?